How's it going, everyone? I am Sean Moriarty,
I'm Benjamin Walters.
and welcome in to another edition of the Two Irish Brothers show. Football season is a quarter of the way in, but you guys know the drill.
Yep.
We always got to go over this. Hit that subscribe tab in the bottom right-hand corner. Like or dislike the video for algorithm purposes so that you guys can help us find or be found more on YouTube. That's what the point of that is. And then last and certainly not least, hit that bell icon after you subscribe so that way you always know when Ben and I upload new content or go live. Well, Ben, it's a new week.
Yep.
And hands down, we will be going up probably against the toughest offense on the schedule to date in the Louisville Cardinals. And there's a lot of anticipation in this game, but you could say this about every game going forward, but this one is really going to define how the rest of our season goes.
Yes. Very much.
So let's talk about our brief history with the Cardinals. They picked us off last year when when we were riding high, and then we beat them the year before in down in Louisville at home or at their place. And then the only meeting before that was the first time in South Bend, which came at a point of the season that year when the season was already gone to hell.
Yeah.
So it's no different this year. We're coming off back-to-back wins after I can't help but keep repeating it, losing to Northern Illinois in fluke fashion.
A very disappointing loss. Yes.
Yes. But still, 2 straight wins is 2 straight wins. Not going to take that away from the Irish or Marcus Freeman. No. But Louisville is going to want to make sure that our playoff hopes are dashed and that all we're looking at is a minor bowl game and no playoffs whatsoever. So yeah, let's get into that. Let's talk about this Louisville team.
Yeah, they're pretty impressive on paper. Undefeated, 3-0, and their offense is high-powered, to say the least. And something that I wish our quarterback could do is something their quarterback does very, very well, and that is throw the football.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's get into it. Tyler Show, I want to say is his last name.
That looks about right.
52 completions out of 76 attempts for a 68% of completions. But here's the fun part. 850 yards with 8 touchdowns and an average of 283 passing yards a game.
And he hasn't been picked off once.
No interceptions. But we also cannot take away from the running attack that the Louisville Cardinals have. So
yeah, these numbers bother me.
Yeah. They have 3 guys that have pretty decent numbers. That is Isaac Brown, Duke Watson, and Kajon Brown.
Well, and even Maurice Turner is knocking at the door with
a little bit, yeah. But he's a step below.
Right. I'm just saying.
This offense is 2-dimensional. This is not a 1-dimensional offense like we ran into against Miami of Ohio. This is an offense that can beat you in every phase of their game. And like you said, this will be the toughest offense so far that we've played. I have a lot of faith in the defense. I do. Like, our defense is in the top 10 for defenses this year, which is saying something. But we've really only played one team that is worth mentioning, and that is A&M.
Yes.
So this will be a nice little test to see what our defense can do. But
I
what do
agree.
you think I'm going to say is the bigger issue?
There's always something that lies beneath.
The offense has to get it going in this game.
Yeah.
This is a game where you cannot have hiccups. You cannot have a slow start. Because as a team, Louisville is only allowing opponents to 11 points average on the season.
Well, and that's just it. They've definitely played through 3 games. They've definitely played as a complete team for the most part. Essentially been mistake free. And here's the thing with Louisville: not only are they wanting to make a run in the ACC conference, but they're really going to want to pad that resume with a victory over us. So they've got just as much to lose as we do in this one.
Yes.
But of course, and I'm not trying to quote the quote realists and the conference lovers out there, the ones who are obsessed with conference this and conference that. But even if the Cardinals do slip up against us, and which I hope does not, which I want to have happen in the worst way possible. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I'm not the best prepared for this, Ben. My my brain's thinking one thing, but my mouth is doing another. If that makes sense. But all I'm saying, what I'm trying to get at is, even if we are to beat them, which I hope we do, Louisville will have that opportunity to still make the playoffs with winning the ACC conference. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But like I said, one thing that I've definitely learned is, and I used to say this a lot in the past, and I'm considering really changing this, but we could talk about Louisville's schedule right now and see who they played so far to this point. Usually we'd scoff and say, oh, well, they did all this against Austin Peay and against Jacksonville State and Georgia Tech, which Georgia Tech, they're playing not really pretty well this year.
Georgia Tech's playing some good football, and we're going to see them later in the year.
Yes. But regardless, this could be. They could have played another. They could have played another FCS opponent for all I care. Well, I'm starting to realize that obviously that doesn't mean squat, because when it comes to them playing you, it's a whole different ball game. They're going to be freaking hungry,
right?
And so, yeah, I'm really starting to see that even if you played 2 FCS opponents before us, it almost doesn't matter, especially with how this with the recent history with this Notre Dame team playing down to their opponents and whatnot. It's just, I don't want to say it without being too derogatory, because I still love the Irish, and I don't want to beat up on them too much like I have already. But all I know is
it's warranted.
Yes, it's very warranted. And all I can say is, which you mentioned already, we cannot have any flub-ups in this one, because Louisville will take full advantage of it. You can get away with that stuff against Miami of Ohio, but Northern Illinois showed that when you are not in sync and when you're not on, that you're going to be in trouble, and it's going to cost you in the end.
Yes.
And
we're at home. That's the thing. Like that's the golden thing with me. We're at home. Can we please, for once, look good at home? Please. Under Marcus Freeman.
Yes.
Please.
I think everybody knew what you meant by that. I mean, of course, we've looked good at home before, but in the Freeman era, yeah, we need to take care of business in these kind of games. On Saturday, we got a green out. Hopefully the fans follow through with that. And this could be for a whole other video, Ben. But
right.
As angry as our fans have been at the inconsistency of the play of the team so far, and losing a very bad game to a Northern Illinois team that had no business beating us, and I stand by that. I get the frustration of the fans, but still, though, the fans need to come through for this team. And I'm talking specifically the ones in attendance.
Yeah.
Because let's face it. Notre Dame Stadium despite all the upgrades and whatnot, it's not.
It's not a hostile environment.
It's not the hostile environment that it once was. It wasn't.
It's a home away from home for teams.
Teams are not afraid to come and play us at Notre Dame Stadium anymore.
No.
That's something that has to change.
And it also starts at the top though too, because like I'm hearing way too many from other fans that the ushers are saying you need to sit down and you need to be a little less rambunctious and all that. No, you need to be loud. You're at a football game, for crying out loud.
Oh, I've been reading our Twitter feed too, Ben. I've seen those same kind of comments.
To be calm and all that. Go watch ballet. Like, this is football. I'm sorry. Like, that's just bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And
yeah, that's a part of what's hurting.
It's part of it, and then us getting taken over is the other part of it. And I mean, maybe it's a combo of fans being fed up with the team, and maybe it's also fans being fed up with administration saying, you know what, if you're going to be like that to me and you're not going to let me fully enjoy the game I want to enjoy, then I'll sell my tickets.
Well, I don't know. I responded to somebody on that a post that showed up on our Twitter feed, or I'm sorry, our X feed, and it wasn't an argument. Believe me, you would have known if it was an argument because I would have heard from you earlier. But this guy was talking about all that stuff, and here's the thing. Here's the thing that people aren't talking about. Yes, the struggles in recent history and losing to lesser opponents. Yeah, that's drawn a lot of the criticism and getting people in our fan base riled up and so on. But something that people don't realize is this has been a problem long before recent history.
Oh yeah.
This has happened when we haven't been losing to lesser opponents. I mean, of course, we got going all the way back to 2000. Number 1 Nebraska comes to town. Stadium's half red.
Yep.
2017 Georgia comes to town. Stadium's half red. Maybe even over half.
Right.
But that's been a problem long before the flub ups on the field and all that. All these fans are getting upset, but yet what are you guys doing to help? Don't get me wrong. I'm not deflecting anything from the responsibility of the coaches or the play on the field. That is all warranted. But what are the fans doing to help? I mean, if you're not going to come and support the team, and when you do, if you're going to watch it like you're watching a damn ballet, like you said, or a golf tournament, and be like, could you sit down and be quiet? We're trying to watch the game. Then don't come. Don't come if you're not going to help the team.
Yep.
But it's like, it seems like with every major program, I mean, of course, I'm sure there's a lot of group of 5 teams that this happens to, but I'm talking like the top major programs. We're the only one,
right?
That seems to let this happen, and then we just don't care.
Yeah.
Because listen, I guarantee you, when teams like Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, when they were going through some rough years, I guarantee you, not one time did they let that stadium get taken over. Not one time were they not there for their team.
Right.
And believe me, but my buddy Magnum could tell you a lot when Georgia was going through a shit period back in the 90s.
Yeah.
But I digress. I mean, I guess we should get back to the game this weekend itself. But I had to get that out there, Ben.
Yeah. I mean, and the bottom line is that everything needs to improve. Like, in Freeman is on my hot seat. I don't know how you feel about it, but Freeman is on my hot seat. Like, I am very disappointed.
No, I echo that sentiment, and here I am talking disappointed. But here I am always talking about how much I hate fans who go with an echo chamber. But no, I agree. He should be on the hot seat right now.
Well, we back it up with proof, though. It's not like it's just Freeman sucks or anything like that. It's This game, though, in particular, is a telling point for the season and for Freeman and for this squad, this 2024-2025 squad. And this has to be mistake-free football come Saturday afternoon. No penalties, no missed assignments, no anything like that. We can't have it. We can't, because Louisville will be all over it. And this is one of those games where if you have a slow start, like I mentioned earlier, you will not win this game. You will not.
I agree. And also, this is where, and obviously I can't get inside Marcus Freeman's mind or anything, but if Riley Leonard starts this game out the way he has been all season, then swallow your damn pride. I think I said this in our recap of Miami of Ohio. Swallow your damn pride and put in Angeli or Minchie, somebody who can get the ball, who can make things happen in the air.
Right.
Because you can't. Because this can't keep happening where Riley is struggling in the passing game, missing receivers that are wide open. And the thing is, let me just add a couple things here. I get that the offensive line is very young. We lost 2 starters, but yes, we got a couple of veterans back in there to take their place. But overall, it's a young offensive line. I get that. But still, you have to be able to be no excuses. Exactly, you have to be a dual threat quarterback here. You can't just he's been doing great.
We have to have an offense. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you have to be able to run and pass in this game. There is no Riley Leonard runs for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's not going to happen. It's not going to work against Louisville. It's not.
Well, and despite and speaking and going back to a particular position group, I've had people tell me like, "Oh, well, we can't get good receivers in at Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman can't recruit receivers. They're poor. They're not getting separation." That's bullcrap. I've gone back and watched replays. These guys are getting separation. Riley is not finding them.
Yeah, it's a Riley Leonard problem, not a receiving core problem. Yeah.
No, they're getting open.
That's what's going to kill us is if we don't have a passing game. That's something that I've said for years, and that's something that continues to be echoed from both of us, and it doesn't seem to change. So we'll see. We will see.
Yes, and you know, I hate this right now. I really do. I mean, we're 3-1. We're not out of the playoff hunt. We still have 8 games left to go. Or 7 after Saturday to take that however you want to take it.
I consider us out of the playoff hunt. And the only reason I consider us out of the playoff hunt is because of who we lost to. If we lost to someone like Southern Cal or Louisville, you know, or even A&M, if we started the season and we lost to A&M, okay, so what? I mean, it sucks. It does. But so what? But our NIU loss will not be equal to an Alabama loss to Georgia or a Georgia loss to Alabama. I'm sorry, it won't. Well, so right now, I look at it like playoffs are not even in the picture, and you guys better do something to figure that out.
Is it just a way of not
better be show up and show the world who you are? Because you now have 8 games to show the world who you are. You can't fuck up. I'm sorry for the language, but you just can't. You can't fuck up here.
Well, is it more like just not getting your hopes up, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, because like I said, like if I'm, and I look at it like from a voting perspective. Okay, if I'm a voter and I have a 1 to 2 loss team and they have losses, quality losses, like on the road against Alabama or on the road against Clemson, on the road against Ohio State, or even at home against Ohio State or Clemson, that's a way different loss than a group of 5 MAC school that is NIU.
And who, just like I said, just lost to Buffalo.
Right. So that's where I come at it from. Not I don't think we should make it because we just suck. No, it's logically there is no reason we should be in the playoffs right now.
Well,
logically.
Well, and also, I got to be honest, I don't like that term quality loss because that's an oxymoron. There's no such thing as a quality loss, but I get it. It's like I would say more. It's like an
looking at a strength
it's
of
an
schedule.
understandable
Who's your-
loss.
Yeah, who are your strong opponents? You know, an SEC schedule is a way more impressive schedule than a group of 5 school that runs through a bunch of group of 5 teams.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how it's been since the BCS era. Actually, the BCS era put more emphasis on that because that's how it figured out who deserved to be in the national title. So,
well, and you are right that, you know, even if we were to go 11-1, and I know I probably shouldn't even be talking like that, but no, you're right. The voters are definitely going to look at, or the committee's going to look at that loss and be like, okay, they've got this loss to Northern Illinois, a MAC school who wasn't an inferior opponent,
right.
and I guess myself in that scenario, which, you know, not trying to get too far ahead down the road here. I don't want to look past Saturday. But in that scenario, like at this point right now, if we were to win out, I'm just looking at it like, okay, we've got a lot of mayhem coming up with conference play getting underway for all the different conferences out there, and I'd like to think that a lot of these guys are going to play themselves out, and that'll open some things up for us.
Yeah.
But
the only thing that would save Notre Dame, and it's not going to happen now, is if NIU went undefeated and just blew out everybody they played, other than Notre Dame, and that obviously is not going to happen because they lost to Buffalo.
They can still win the MAC conference, which I guess that would help slightly, but it's not going to have a big impact.
But this isn't the NIU team that took on Florida State in the Orange Bowl. If we lost to that Northern Illinois team, I'd feel a little bit better. But, you know.
Yeah. I maybe we shouldn't even be talking that far down the road, but it's just like you can't help but have these scenarios and these hypotheticals come to mind. But it's just unbelievable that, you know, there's this down feeling and we're 3-1. It's just crazy. And that's the big thing too. It's like the fans' frustration and anger is warranted. But there's just also so many things that play into it too. Like, yeah, you can definitely blame the coaches and the players because that's the product on the field and the people who are leading that product. But, you know, there is fan responsibility too. Like, why don't you show up for the team? Why don't you pick them up while you're down? And it's like, you know, we obviously know one person who completely quit on the team and changed teams this offseason. Right. You know, so it's like if I'm a player or a coach on the Notre Dame football team right now, and I know they're probably told to drown out the noise, which is understandably so. Otherwise, you could take the theory of, you know, go with that, run with hear it all, run with it, use as motivation. I get that too. But when it comes to our own fans, and if I'm a player on that team and a coach, I want to know that those fans have our back. And there's a lot of them that don't. So I just, again, I'm not excusing the poor play on the field or the inconsistency, but you have to add all of it into all factors in. You know what I mean?
Yep, I agree.
Because it's like, yeah, losing to Northern sucked ass, but did you really think? I mean, how could you expect any Notre Dame fan to be upset the very next week after after beating Purdue to a bloody pulp, or even last week against Miami of Ohio, even though it was a slow start? Can you really be upset at winning by 25 points? Yeah. Despite how slow, like I said, despite how slow a start it was and the inconsistency still showing up. No, I'm always happy after a win.
Right.
But I'll tell you one thing: if we clean that up this week and we take care of business against Louisville, that hope is going to start to rise.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Very, very much so.
So I know this has become quite a rambling fest, but just a lot of stuff on my mind that I had to get out.
Yeah. Come to that point, though. We have come to that point.
Score time.
Score prediction time.
Will I do it
for third week in a row, opting out?
You know what? I think I'm going to get back to it. I think I've seen enough the past couple weeks to where I can actually make a score prediction. But I'm going to start small though, because obviously, you know, the last time I picked a score, it's big time egg on my face.
Mm-hmm.
It was not what I expected at all.
Right.
So I'm going to take baby steps here. I'm going to make a score prediction that is not getting my hopes up.
Okay.
So you know me. I know you broke that streak, but myself, I'm never going to pick Notre Dame to lose a game. I'm never going to do that. I'm just that kind of fan. But honestly, the way I see things sitting right now, with the inconsistencies and Louisville being, well, on a hot streak to start the year, it's true. They have not seen a defense like ours. Our defense, despite their mistakes, have risen to the occasion.
Yes.
Well, when our defense makes a mistake, they make a big play to make up for it. So, but I think this is going to be a one-score game, and I'm going to say Notre Dame wins it 27-20. And that go-ahead score could come within the last 2 minutes when we're tied up.
Yeah.
So I basically expect a heart attack. Just expect it.
Mine's a little more of a heart attack, so I'll give it to you. Like, I dig it. Notre Dame 21, Louisville 17.
Same kind of scenario where we score late in the game to win it.
Yeah.
You don't want the heart attacks, but you got to prepare yourself for it now. Because this Notre Dame team, their identity, we don't know for sure what it is. Like, what's going to show up? Are we going to see some improvement and the defense has to carry us? Or are we going to finally see the Notre Dame team explode on offense like we know they're capable of?
Right.
But all I know is Coach Freeman has to have his guys ready to play, and he has to have his mind there intact with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's been people that have been on this guy since day one. I mean, after his first 2 games, people wanted him fired.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of fans, I've said this many times, that I can't stand. The so-called Notre Dame fans, the realists. I know people like it when I say that and do the quotes, so I'm giving them what they want. But basically, when I say realists, people that really have no faith in the team at all, and the only thing they care about is not the team, but they care more about wanting to be right.
Yeah.
It's like an ego thing to have. I want to be right. I want to be right, and I want you to be wrong.
Right.
So, and as sad as it is, those types of people have been getting their wish.
Yeah, they have. But
it makes me sick. But what can I do about it?
But time to let it all show on the field.
Yes,
all we can
absolutely. All righty, Ben. Well, I will be honest and say this was not my best performance for a preview or any video for that matter. It's like, because when like I said, when you have the thoughts racing in your mind, you obviously just can't say them all at once. So I admit I kind of screwed up, but that's the best thing that you can do is just be yourself and be honest, even if the words don't come out right.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. So on that note, Ben, is there anything else you have to add?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, with that said, I'm Sean Moriarty.
I'm Benjamin Walters.
And as we always say, every video, good night, God bless, and go Irish.
Go Irish. Beat Louisville.